There are nights when everything goes quiet, but not in a comforting way. The house is still, the world slows down, and yet, inside you, something keeps moving. You lie there with your eyes open, staring into the dark, and your thoughts feel louder than the room itself. You prayed earlier, you whispered the words, you showed up like you always do, but nothing shifted, nothing softened. The silence stayed, and that silence can feel heavy, not dramatic, not desperate, just heavy. You're not angry at God. You're not walking away from faith. You're still here, still believing, still holding on, even if it's only by habit right now. But there's a quiet question sitting in your chest that you don't always say out loud. Is anyone actually near me right now? Because silence can start to feel like distance, like maybe heaven stepped back for a moment. Like maybe you're facing this night alone. And the hardest part is that from the outside, everything looks fine. You're functioning, you're responsible, you're doing what needs to be done. But when the lights go out and the noise fades, the weight shows up. These are the nights when faith doesn't feel strong. It feels steady, but tired. Present, but quiet. If this moment feels familiar, if you've ever wondered whether God is still close when nothing is being said, if your faith tonight feels more like endurance than emotion, stay here. This isn't a message meant to fix you. It's not here to rush you into peace. It's simply here to meet you exactly where this night finds you. There's a particular kind of tiredness that doesn't come from the body. You can sleep and still wake up carrying it. You can rest and still feel drained. It's spiritual fatigue, the kind that settles in slowly, without announcement. You keep praying, but the words feel thinner than they used to. You still believe, but the warmth that once came easily doesn't arrive anymore. Faith hasn't disappeared. It's just quieter, more disciplined than felt, and maybe that's what weighs on you. You wonder why the fear hasn't left yet, why the same worries return every night, why your heart stays alert even when the day is over. You don't doubt God's power. You doubt your own strength to keep carrying this silently. Sometimes the tension doesn't even have a clear name. It's not one big problem. It's the accumulation of many small ones. Responsibilities, expectations, unspoken grief, things you haven't had the space to process. So you hold it together. You show up. You smile when needed. You keep moving forward. But inside, there's a pressure you rarely talk about. A quiet strain between what you trust and what you feel, between what you confess with your mouth and what your heart struggles to believe at night. And when prayer doesn't immediately change that feeling, a subtle doubt can appear, not loud, not rebellious, just tired. Am I doing something wrong? Shouldn't this feel easier by now? If this sounds close to your experience, you're not failing. You're not weak. You're not alone in this tension. Many carry faith like this, quietly, steadily, without applause. And nights like these don't mean faith is gone. They mean it's being carried under weight. Nothing needs to be solved here. Nothing needs to be corrected. This moment is simply about naming what's already there. There's a silence that feels different from absence, even though, at first, they can seem the same. God's silence doesn't arrive with explanation. It doesn't announce its purpose. It simply exists, and that's what makes it difficult, because when nothing is said, the mind tries to fill the space. You start wondering if the quiet means distance, if unanswered prayers mean disinterest, if the stillness is a sign that something went wrong. But silence is not rejection, and it is not punishment. In many lives of faith, silence becomes the place where formation happens quietly, without emotion, without reassurance, without visible signs. Not because God has stepped away, but because something deeper is being shaped. Silence strips faith of performance. It removes the need to feel strong, inspired, or certain. It teaches endurance without applause. And that can feel uncomfortable, because we often associate closeness with noise, words, signs, confirmations. But presence doesn't always speak. Sometimes God stays near without interrupting the night, without changing the feeling immediately, without lifting the weight right away, not to test you, not to confuse you, but to remain with you in a way that doesn't depend on sensation. This kind of silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the work is happening underneath awareness. Formation rarely feels holy in the moment. It feels slow, unremarkable, quiet. If you're in a season where God feels silent, it doesn't mean you missed him. It may mean he's closer than your emotions can register. And the night isn't empty just because it's quiet. This is where the psalm begins to walk beside you, not to explain the night, but to stay in it with you. Psalm 91 doesn't rush the darkness away. It doesn't demand that fear disappear. It doesn't pretend the night isn't real. Instead, it speaks quietly, almost like someone sitting nearby, close enough to matter. It reminds you that protection doesn't always feel dramatic. That presence doesn't always announce itself. He will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways, not as a spectacle, not as a sudden rescue, but as a covering that exists even when you don't feel it. Angels near doesn't mean the night ends immediately. It means you are not exposed. It means nothing about this silence has left you unguarded. Psalm 91 doesn't argue with your emotions. It doesn't tell you to be braver. It doesn't ask you to feel stronger. It simply places truth beside you, steady, patient, unforced. That even in silent nights, there is unseen care at work. That even when prayers feel unanswered, protection is not paused. That rest is possible without explanation. This psalm doesn't promise that you will suddenly feel peace. It promises that you are not facing this night alone, and sometimes that's enough. Not relief, not clarity, just companionship. A reminder that faith doesn't have to shout to be real, that God's care doesn't depend on your awareness of it, that unseen doesn't mean absent. The angels mentioned here are not a metaphor meant to impress you. They are a quiet assurance meant to steady you, right here, right now, in this stillness. At this point, nothing needs to be resolved. You don't need answers right now. You don't need clarity. You don't need to understand what comes next. This moment is not asking anything from you. Let your shoulders loosen, even slightly. Not because everything is fine, but because you don't have to hold everything at once. If it helps, take a slow breath in, not deep, just gentle, and let it out without forcing calm. There is no instruction here to feel better, only permission to stop resisting the night. You are allowed to rest while questions remain. You are allowed to pause while faith stays quiet. You are allowed to be still without proving anything. Imagine this moment as it is, not as you wish it were. The quiet room, the dim light, the steady passing of time. Nothing is being demanded of you. Psalm 91 speaks of refuge, not urgency, of shelter, not performance. Even now, there is a covering that does not depend on your awareness, a presence that does not require your attention to remain. You don't have to watch over yourself tonight. You don't have to stay alert for what might go wrong. If your mind wanders, let it wander. If thoughts return, let them pass without engagement. This is not a moment to fix the soul. It is a moment to let it breathe. Rest doesn't always arrive as peace. Sometimes it arrives as permission to stop trying. And for now, that is enough. If this moment reached you quietly, let it remain that way. There is no need to leave this space abruptly. No need to label what you felt. No need to decide anything before the night ends. Some moments are meant to stay unfinished, not because something is missing, but because they are still unfolding. Psalm 91 doesn't close the story. It stays with you as the night continues, as tomorrow slowly approaches, as faith keeps walking one step at a time. You don't have to remember every word. You don't have to hold on to every thought. What matters is that something steady stayed near you, without pressure, without urgency. If the silence returns later tonight, Let it return. It doesn't erase what's already present. It doesn't undo the quiet care surrounding you. These psalms are not meant to be consumed. They are meant to be returned to, again and again, at the pace your soul can manage. If this space felt safe, you're welcome to remain close, not to escape life, but to walk through it accompanied. Nothing here asks you to feel stronger tomorrow, only to keep showing up gently. This path is not loud, it doesn't rush, it doesn't demand certainty, it simply continues. And when you're ready, not because you should, but because you want to, we'll walk through the next psalm together quietly, faithfully, one night at a time.